Hello and welcome to the Yarn Waffle podcast. My name is Liz. I'm a crochet and knitting designer living in York in the UK with my 3 Bengal cats. This is my podcast where I talk about what I've been making and creating over the past couple of weeks. And if you are new here, you are more than welcome. I hope you stick around, and if you have been here before, you know what to expect, how chaotic it can be, the fact that we have disruptions from cats, and hopefully no tripods falling over, although Jax has already managed to try that. Haven't you, darling? Hello, my love. Please behave. Jax normally has to get shut out when I record the podcast down here because he is chaos in a kitten form. Believe it or not, this huge cat is still a kitten. This is Jax. He's still got another 6 to 8 months of growing to do. But anyway, this isn't a cat podcast. This is a knitting podcast or a crochet podcast. Okay, so I'm going to start off with finished objects. And you may have noticed the first one because it's what I'm wearing, and it's not my weekender. This is my weekender that is knit from handspun, and I talk about it in the previous episode if you want to find out more about it. I've been wearing it quite a bit since that episode, and I love it now. I'm quite happy with the length and everything, just bang on, really love it. Want to knit another. But no, the finished object is this, which is also a pattern by Andrea Mowry, by the way. The weekender is by Andrea Mowry. This is my night shift shawl. I'm going to lean back so you can see it. Is it the most beautiful thing you have ever seen? Oh, it's wonderful. This is knit in handspun, and I made this as a project for my Spin to Knit series, which is a series that comes out monthly on this channel, although we've only had 2 episodes so far. And it's where I intentionally I pick a pattern. It's where I pick a pattern and then I intentionally spin yarn to make that pattern. And this was the second one. This is the night shift. And yeah, so I spun all the yarn for this, and you can see all the details in that episode. But yeah, I didn't quite get the shawl the length it states in the pattern because I ran out of yarn. In fact, somewhere in my little basket of current whips, I think is the amount of the yarn I had left over. Yeah. So that is the amount of yarn that I had left over. This little nugget is all the yarn that I had left over, and there is barely 2 grams here. The pattern has 10 repeats in it. It's a very simple pattern. It's mosaic knitting, knit on a 5mm needle, so it does grow pretty fast. So it uses worsted weight yarn, and the pattern recommends spin cycle, which is sort of a commercially available style of handspun yarn anyway. So a lot of people have made this in handspun, and I totally understand why. It's just the most beautiful thing, and it smells gorgeous. And yeah, I think this is quite possibly my favourite thing I've ever made. Well, ever, but from handspun, and yeah, from my spinning, and the colours just are absolutely everything, and the way they play together. We'll put in some close-up footage just so you can see the way the colours play together and the texture in it, but oh, it's just so glorious. The pattern calls for 6 50-gram balls of worsted weight yarn, and I spun 3 100-gram braids into worsted yarn. So I should have had the right amount, but my yardage didn't work out, and I was about 100 yards off. So I managed to bring in some scrap handspun for bits when I ran out, which I don't think you can really notice because colours blend so well. But if I was going to make this again, I probably would spin 4 braids, not 3, just because for the last 2/3 of knitting this, I was worried about running out of yarn, and I don't think that's it's not the nicest way to go about knitting if you're constantly worried about playing yarn chicken at the end. And I was playing yarn chicken at the end, quite a mammoth game of yarn chicken. But yeah, if I was going to knit this again, if I was going to spin to knit this again, I would spin 4 braids rather than 3, just so that I wasn't constantly managing the yarn and worried about playing yarn chicken at the end. I think it would just be, and because it's such an enjoyable knit, I don't want to have that stress added to it and sort of constantly worried of, am I going to run out, am I going to run out? And yeah, I had scraps and I could use that, and it definitely wasn't a problem, but it would have been a more enjoyable knit overall if I didn't have that stress on me. But that's by the by. Second finished object is a project you haven't seen yet. It's got fluff on it. But I think I did put a picture up of the handspun. Jax's obsession with knocking things over. Jax, you can't. So many things in this house are blue tacked down. He is going to knock these flowers over. They're pretty flowers. It's spring now. Jax, you can't. If I move, or if these move, it's because I've blue tacked them down so you can't knock them off. He's either going to be knocking that or he's going to be knocking the microphone. It's just going to be chaos. I might have to shut him out. I only have a limited amount of time to record this today because I have to be out of the house in an hour and a half. Jax, okay. Be right back. Right, Jax has been bribed with treats, or sweets as we call them in this house, and I've kept a spare one, so if he attacks my flowers again, I can throw this, and hopefully that will work. Right, back to finished objects. Yeah, back to finished objects, and this second one is a pair of socks that you haven't seen yet. You may have seen a picture of the fibre because I was spinning that last podcast. I just finished the spin and was about to ply and cast these on. And these are handspun socks, and these are again by Andrea Mowry. It's the Andrea Mowry show. These are the DRK Everyday socks, and Andrea Mowry has been having a spin to knit along where we're spinning yarn to knit these socks. I kind of had to join in because I have a spin to knit series, and even though I didn't knit these for an episode of that, I just kind of wanted to join in. I thought it sounded like fun. So the fibre for these was from Felt Studio UK, and it was a merino silk blend. And I split it into 3 even parts and spun those end to end and plied them together with hopefully the colours matching. It didn't work. This is what it would have looked like if they matched throughout, but at some point it went wrong and it started to get really blendy. I don't mind. For some reason it matched up again at the end because I used pretty much the whole 100 grams to make these socks. So yeah, the DRK Everyday Socks is a 2x2 rib pattern with a fleagle heel, and I had some issues with the heel, mainly because I didn't read the pattern properly. I couldn't quite understand the increases, but it's because I had my stitches, I had the wrong stitch count and I had them set up on the needle incorrectly. And I've cast on another couple of pairs since just to try this pattern out. One, because I'm trying to convince myself I love knitting 2x2 rib, but do I? I mean, I keep kicking them up and working on them, and these got knit really quickly in less than 2 weeks, but I think that's more the hand spun than it is the 2x2 rib. The fact of the matter is these are going to fit like a dream, and I can't wait to wear them. Now I've shown them to you. But yeah, it's like I'm slightly avoiding 2x2 ribbed socks. Right. So yeah, it's kind of like you know when you sort of think, I think 2x2 ribbed socks are going to be the sock that fits me best, but I don't want them to be, because that means I'm forever going to be knitting 2x2 rib socks. I don't want that to be my life. Jax has just found his other treat. No, Jax, it's to bribe you when you're bad. Jax, we're not even at whips yet. You we're not even at whips. Yeah, sorry if that muffled the sound. His bum was right in front of the microphone. Like, oh, wherever I put it, he's going to try and get it. It's going behind the cushion. If I forget where it is later, let me know. It's behind the cushion. If I forget where it is in like 3 episodes time and it's there. Okay, that is it for finished objects. Just 2 this week. I haven't really been doing that much knitting, so I'm going to move straight in to whips. So while I'm talking about the DRK Everyday Socks, I'll show you the others that I've cast on. This one, I'll put some close-up pictures in. This is also a hand spun. This fibre was from Dye Candy and it was from a crowdfunding, it was like a crowdfunded fibre that she wanted to make out of, I know there's banana fibres in there and all sorts of different, it was a gorgeous fibre to spin, the colours were beautiful. They have muted down slightly but the yellow is still quite neon in it. And this I managed to get to a fingering weight, so I'm knitting these on 2.25mm needles. So yeah, I cast this one on as soon as I'd finished that other hand spun pair, just because I hadn't got on very well with that pattern. I wanted to give it another go because I knew it was probably my error. I mean, there are so many projects for these socks on Ravelry. It can't be. I was expecting, like, I was looking through the notes on Ravelry to see if there was some comments about the heel, and there was none. So I knew that somewhere I had gone wrong, but I kept reading that pattern and I could not see where, until I came to knit them again, and I spotted it almost straight away. And it was, as I said, the way I set up the needles and my stitch count. I just had the wrong stitch count, and that there endeth the disaster. So these are absolutely fine, although when I did come to do the heel turn, I again had read the stitch count wrong. I am not criticising this pattern at all. It's a great pattern for ribbed socks. The other ones that I've done fit really well. It's just, there are a lot of sizes in the pattern. It goes from like kiddies, small human sizes to big human sizes. And therefore there are a lot of different stitch counts, and I use an app on my phone for my patterns, and so the screen size is quite small, so it's really easy to misjudge which. It's really easy to miss which is your stitch count, and sometimes I will go through and highlight, if I've printed the pattern off, I can go through and highlight them all, but I do kind of like just using it on my app, so I'm not using as much printer ink and paper when I don't necessarily need to. But yeah, I think I have my head around it now. Okay, next work in process is also a DRK everyday sock, because for me, if I want to learn something or if I want something to become intuitive, repetition is the way to go. So I've cast on a third DRK everyday sock. So yeah, this was just a random self-striping that I had in my stash by the Knitting Goddess. I'd got it from someone's de-stash on eBay, and Jax is now trying to dig out the treat from behind the cushion if you haven't figured out what's going on, and Puka's going to come and help. Yeah, I just picked this because I didn't actually know how it's striped or how many colours in the stripes it has. And it just has 2, a dark grey and this sort of yellowish dark grey. And it's really nice. And yeah, I just, again, wanted to try this pattern in a not hand-spun, hand-dyed, self-striping, and see how I got on with it in that. And again, this one I am knitting on 2.25 needles because it is a ribbed sock. And I can get away with having a smaller stitch count, larger needles, because I'm going to have all that sucky-inness from the ribbing. But yeah, so at the moment, these pretty much are what are living in my knitting basket that lives on the sofa next to me. I mean, we're not talking about this knitting basket that lives on the sofa next to me, which has the other projects that I've been working on, and this is the one that literally sits right next to me, so if I want to pick up in any knitting, they are there, and that is what I'm picking up. So I'm picking those up rather than I would be picking up a stocking stitch sock, and I'm trying to get my head around the idea that ribs aren't just for cuffs, they're for Christmas. Yeah, just, I mean, I struggle to do more than a 16 row 2x2 cuff, so the fact that I've actually made one full pair of socks in 2x2 rib, and I've got another 2 pairs on the needles, and I'm kind of enjoying them. Am I enjoying them? Okay, next work in progress is one you have actually seen before, and this is my tied knots hat. So this is my tied knots hat. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is a cabled pattern. It is in DK weight yarn, and this yarn is by Fruitful Fusion. I cannot remember the colourway, but I will put it on the screen, and I will also put in some close-up images over the top. And I've realised I've just dropped a stitch. Oh no, don't go away. Don't you go anywhere. Why do I drop a stitch like every episode? Yeah, so tied knots is a free DK weight cable pattern. I cable without a cable needle, which I recommend trying the Stephen West's tutorial for how to do that and giving it a go. It certainly made doing cables a lot faster for me. Although this hat just seemed to be taking a while, but I think it's just mainly because I don't pick it up very often. But I have now finished the body of the hat. I am onto the decreases, so I'm hoping next time you see this it will be finished and on my head, because I really want to wear it. But yeah, it's just this dark green yarn, and the cables are just, it's so lovely. It really is so lovely. So yeah, not a lot to tell you about this one. I can't even remember what size needle I'm knitting it on. I'll get Editing Liz to put it on the screen if I've found out. I will just be using what it says in the pattern. So yeah, it's 4mm needle, DK weight yarn, and I said this yarn is by Fruitful Fusions that I got from Yarndale when I actually saw Ishrat, and it was lovely. Yeah, beautiful, and I do somewhere have a pom-pom that goes with it. Hang on, are you in here? So yeah, that is the pom-pom that is going to go on when it is finished, and it should be finished maybe this afternoon. Maybe I'll sit down this afternoon when I get back from town and finish that. It is also living in my basket of knits that I am working on right at the minute. So it's not in a project bag, it is in this basket. So 2 more whips to show you, I think. I'm not 100% sure what's in this bag. Zip sticks on this bag, which is a bit of a shame. Oh yeah. I have not got very far on this project at all. I pretty much just cast on and then knit on it for one afternoon and then haven't picked it up again since. But this is my Storm Shawl, which is a pattern by Hoki Locatelli, and I knit one of these very recently for Helen from Giddy Yarns in her Stone Table colourway. And I enjoyed the pattern so much and thought the shawl was so pretty that I wanted to knit one for myself, so I cast one on in this yarn, which is a dye candy yarn, and it's called Silver Linings, I think, and it's pretty much just grey and rainbow and absolutely gorgeous. So the shawl is a 1 skein shawl, 1 skein fingering weight shawl, and it uses drop stitches and short rows, and you get quite a big shawl for your yardage, which I think is really nice. You know, really good for those beautiful skeins that you're not 100% sure what to do with, but they're definitely too nice to be socked. So the next section I have to do on this is the first short row section, and I think that's why I stopped at that point, just because it requires a little bit of thought on the setup but then once you've done a couple of the short rows, you're just repeating that a certain number of times, and it's absolutely fine. It is a very intuitive pattern, and like I say, I really did enjoy it. I just haven't picked it up. But there are reasons for this. Not good reasons, just reasons. Well, fun reasons. So yeah, that is also a work in progress at the moment, and this is in this bag. This bag is so cute. Can you? I don't know how well this is going to focus. This is like rockets, and again, maybe some close up. Can you? There is a bit of a theme actually with these bags. Look, final work in progress to show you, and if you've watched this podcast before, you will have definitely seen this before, because I've been working on it for a while now, and this again has lost stitches. I really need to get some stoppers for the ends of my needles. This is my Litmus cowl. So this is a pattern by Jude of Stranded Dye Works. It's like an infinity loop cowl, and it's basically just a massive sock. Genuinely don't have any more food, but you're welcome to sit down. Very welcome to sit down. Good boy. So yeah, this is so beautiful. It is basically just my big sock project at the moment, and every now and then I pick it up and put a bit more work on it. So the last time you guys saw it, I was where that progress keeper is there. So I've done about 20 centimetres. So really it hasn't had a lot of work on it, but it has some work on it since I last showed you. And I have it's already really long. Like, not quite my wingspan, but definitely longer than a metre. And I have that much more to knit. I have that colour repeat to knit again. So yeah, actually looking at it that way, there's not that much more to go. A couple of evenings knitting and this could be finished. But of course, as soon as it's finished, I'm going to want to cast on another. I made one of these for my mum out of Lame Family Yarn Minis, which is like a pale grey. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it on the screen. It's pale grey, and then all these like, I want to say pastel minis, but they're not. They're like earth tone pastel minis. So pretty. Every time she wears it, I'm like, I really like that one. I really want to make another one. But yeah, I think when this is finished, it will probably be gifted, because I already have 2 Litmus cowls for myself, and obviously want to steal the one I made back from my mum. But yeah, I think this will be gifted. I think it would make a really nice gift. Don't know who to yet, but that's the plan. So yeah, that's not that far off finishing. And that is it for whips. I do have a bit of hand spun to show you this week. I can show you another whip at the same time, but I haven't actually done any work on it. So the first hand spun I will show you is just going to look like a black blob, probably. Ooh, that's quite sparkly actually. That looks lovely. Yeah, this is actually from some rolags I made for Halloween last year. So the main colour in them was black, but there was also like navies and purples, and some sari silk that I got from World of Wool called Cauldron. So it had all like blacks and like acid greens and stuff like that in it. It was beautiful. So whereas this is, so that's where that sort of green sparkle is coming from, and it's made quite a nice sort of fingering weight 2-ply. And I don't 100% know what I'm going to do with this, but I have finally finished it. It is off the bobbin and washed and set and ready to do something. I wish I had enough of this. I wish I had enough of this to make like a ranunculus. I think technically I'm the only sort of knitter left on YouTube that hasn't knit a ranunculus, so I'm definitely going to have to knit one at some point. But if you don't know, it's a very popular knitting pattern. I'll put the picture in as always. Yeah. It would make a really nice ranunculus, but I would probably have to make another full braid of it, which means making some more rolags. But it's doable. It's doable. So, and then the other spinning that I finished is this braid here. Is it gonna focus on this braid? Oh, it is. Oh, hello, that's focusing very nicely. Oh, well done, new camera. Yeah, so this, hopefully you can't see that hair. So this is the fibre I've been meaning to spin for ages, and it is the fibre for the sleeves of my Sparky sweater. So my Sparky sweater is in here. This bag is the bag I made. I absolutely love it. I think it's the Sparky. Might be the Spark. Okay, so yeah, this is my Sparky sweater. I think that's the right name. This is another pattern by Andrea Mowry, because of course it is. And it is a colourwork pattern, and the rainbow in this colourwork is in handspun. It is from Fibre by Cat. I will put it on screen, but I think it's something like Cat Crafty Knitty Bits. It's Debs anyway. Debs at Cat Crafty. Or I always want to call it Cat Crafty Fibre, but that's probably wrong. Yeah, I will put all the details on the screen, and obviously all links are always in my description box, which is down below. And links to anything that I talk about are always in there. I will always try and put things on the screen, but they're always there for clickable links as well. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe and give it a like. You are surprised how much just giving a thumbs up on a episode does really help, and really pushes it out to other people who might want to watch it. Every time you're going to check on something and click on a link, please also give it a like. But yeah, this is gorgeous, and I have finished the body now. It is looking a little on the snug side, but for the spin, no, that's the wrong one. It's taken me a while to do the spin for the arms, because it again involved a little bit more thinking than I was prepared to do, because the fibre had this as a gradient, and I didn't break it down or anything like that. I just literally spun it end to end, and this is 2 full braids, 200 grams of that fibre. Now, if I want the sleeves to match this, I needed to work out how much I needed to break them down by. And I was fairly convinced I needed to break them down into 3, but I did actual maths with a pencil and a piece of paper and worked it out, and I needed to split the fibre into 4. And then I spun it exactly the same way, end to end, and now I have 100 grams, which should be plenty to do both sleeves. And I even split the fibre so that it starts at exactly the right colour point. So once this is caked up, I can cast on, and hopefully it should match. We will all be the judge of this in possibly, let's hope next week's episode. Let's hope the next episode we can judge at least some of how this is going, because I definitely want this sweater finished, because look at, it's all the rainbows. How many rainbows can I wear? That's different yarn. But yeah, so that is the spinning. So yeah, that is the spinning for this episode. There will be a bonus spinning video coming up this month, because it is my spinning anniversary, my spinning birthday. I learned to spin a year ago on March the 14th. March the 14th is when I first picked up a drop spindle, with the determination that I was going to learn to spin so I could buy pretty fibre that I'd seen from Siobhan's Crafts. And I learnt to spin just by doing a little bit every day, and I got that pretty fibre and I spun it. And since then I have now got 3 spinning wheels. I've got 3 cats. Of course I need 3 spinning wheels. Not that the cats can spin. Puka does bite my feet when I'm on the spinning wheel, and if I'm spinning on the double pedal one but only using one foot, Jack's like to sit on the other pedal. It's really, really cute. But yeah, there will be another bonus video coming out. I think it's just kind of going to be like a year in review type spinning, but I want to keep it quite chilled and spin some beautiful fibre and It's going to be really nice. That should be up next week if everything goes to plan. But yeah, I think other than acquisitions, I think we're nearly at the end, and I'm just going to see how much time I actually have. Right, sorry if everything's looking slightly different, if the camera angle's a bit different or if the lighting is a bit different. I had to, new camera, teething problems, but I had an appointment at 12, so I had to dash out, and I have just got back, so I thought I would finish recording now. And the good news is the postman has been in the meantime, so I have additional acquisitions. So I know I did a bit of the acquisition section before I left, but it was a bit rushed. So I'm gonna redo it completely. So yeah, acquisitions, and fibre acquisitions first. And as it is my fibre birthday coming up, I've been spinning a whole year, I have definitely felt the need for some fibre treats. And Wonderful Wool had posted this braid on Instagram, and it's sort of half blue and a quarter purple and then some speckly bits, and I just fell in love. It's absolutely beautiful. It's 100 grams and it is Dorset horn, and yeah, very much looking forward to spinning this. Probably be a spin for socks. And while I was on their website, I treated myself to this beautiful, this is 100% Corriedale. It's another 100 gram braid, and it is again a humbug fibre. If you've watched previous episodes, you know humbug fibre is one of my favourites. And I'm going to be curating together a collection of greens and dark greens and oranges and fibres to make a shift, either sweater, or I've heard rumours there's going to be a cardigan pattern that's coming out, so maybe the cardigan. But yeah, depends how long it takes me to spin, and well, I think it's probably going to take me longer to curate together all the fibre than it will take to spin it all. But yeah, so those are my two purchases from Wonderful Wool. I really like their fibre. And I also have yarn acquisitions. I do have yarn acquisitions. Now these, let me see if I can get these to focus. So these are two skeins that I kept seeing on Etsy. They were in my favourites, and every time I went onto Etsy I kept seeing these beauties and being like, I kind of need them. And it was definitely one of those I need to treat myself days, and so I got them. Yeah, what I didn't know is that they are DK worsted weight, because I basically didn't read the item description, but I'm very glad I got two. They are 50 gram skeins. The colourway is the Library, and they are from Reign of the Roses. Completely new to me dyer. It's very dark, very saturated yarn. It's beautiful. It's 100% extra fine merino wool superwash, and it's the springy twist base. So this is going to be perfect for cables, and it's probably going to be another cabled hat. Very excited to cast that on after I finish the tied knots. Other yarny acquisitions. So, Ducky Darlings. This is the monthly club from Ducky Darlings. And this is February's club, and this one is Eton Mess. It is, the colours pretty much are bang on the screen. They're coming across really well. It's, yeah, it is pinks and creams and all the deliciousness. This will be socks eventually, but it's probably going to live in stash for a little bit until I have someone special that wants some pink socks, although as soon as I say that, Mum will be like, I want pink socks. And while I was getting this month's club, I also treated myself to a skein that she had in her sale. I noticed this as a sock tube, and to be fair, the name completely sold it to me. It's called Moon Shadow. That just reminds me of my cats. Puka and Jax are both pretty much named after moon fae creatures. Yeah, a puka is a fae creature that is a creature of chaos. It is neither good nor bad, and it can shapeshift. There's an episode of the Lore podcast where they talk about pukas quite a lot in it. Yeah, I'll try and find the link. And Jax is named after a character from the book series The Kingkiller Chronicles. In the second book, A Wise Man's Fear, there is a lot of storytelling in the story, and one of those stories is about a boy called Jax who falls in love with the moon. And yeah, I just thought it was a nice name, but the fact that he fell in love with the moon I think is kind of especially as like Puka's my little moon fae, and Jax does love Puka. Yeah, so I'll stop waffling and show you the colour. This is the colour, if I put it in. Yeah, I will put close-ups in if this isn't going to focus, but it seems to be doing an okay job. So it is mainly this very pale cream colour with grey and blue. Can you see the blue at the end there? And grey. And sort of then it's got these dark brown speckles. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. This is probably going to be a special one skein shawl, I think, or be used with another colour in a 2 skein shawl. Yeah, the base is the BFL nylon. I really like Hayley's BFL base at the moment. I think I got this in the BFL base. Yeah, I got this in the BFL base as well. It's a really nice base. But yeah, so those are my yarny acquisitions. Yeah, I will stop umming and ahhing and I will leave you. So thank you very much for watching. I will be back next week with a special spinning video. I haven't 100% decided what it's going to be. Do you have any preference to what it will be? I thought maybe like a year in review or just a relaxing spinning video, or would you like to have a look at my handspun stash or everything that I've knit with handspun? You let me know in the comments. I haven't started filming anything yet. I've started spinning something but not really doing a lot of filming. Let me know in the comments if there's anything in particular that you would like to see in sort of relation to a spinning video that'll be coming next week. Yeah, and then the podcast will be back the week after that, so in 2 weeks. And then the next Spin to Knit episode will be at the end of the month. That is everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please do give this video a like. It really does help me and the channel. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I will see you soon. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye.